They say wrestling is his killing field. Well, we're going to get a prelude to that killing field and some, and maybe we'll see some calamities and get ready for an all-out war that leads us to a riot in the ring and maybe even down the road death row. And no, I'm not talking about the movie Letters to Death Row that famously Charlie Sheen was in, directed by Bret Michaels. No, I'm going to not talk about that movie because nobody remembers that. That's a hidden gem. But I'm going to talk with the man that arguably is the greatest Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer, and he's going to talk about what's coming up between maybe a surge like we've seen no other, because we thought these two were never going to be in the ring again. Well, think again, ladies and gentlemen, because in 1 week from now, we're going to see it for the 11th time. And after what these guys went through last year, it took sudden death for them to be a winner. And the man that I'm talking to right now was actually the winner of that match. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Redux. We're going to talk about some outsiders coming into Riot in the Ring. We're going to talk about some insiders that are coming back onto this platform. We're even going to talk about a name that I've known for a long time that's coming back, and I'm not going to give you the spoiler on that. Plus, I'm even going to talk about the All Out War match itself, because maybe the best Hall of Famer of all time has actually won that twice, and I'm going to get his insights on it, plus who knows what else. And it's been quite the week on Sportswire Radio. We've had people that kind of said they thought they were hardcore, and maybe the only thing they could be hardcore with is maybe watching some illegal stuff on their computers, and those that maybe should stay on the Fisher-Price training wheels. And then there are those that might want to say they're advertising working somewhere, but apparently the powers that be heard about it. But I'm not going to get into all of that, because that stuff is for for the boys that cried wolf, and those are everything else in between. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in prime time. It's Saturday night. It's the middle of May. Let's get to it here on Sportswire Radio, because we are going all out, and I'll explain and some. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the 2023 NEW Underground Wrestling Born to Battle briefcase holder. He is the best on the card. He is arguably maybe the best Hall of Famer of all time, because he statistically won the most championships of any Hall of Famer. But let me give him that introduction that so many of his peers have gotten, colleagues out there, maybe even outsiders that he could be seeing in a few weeks might be watching this introduction. So let's get right to it, because he's waiting for it. His peers are waiting for it. And most importantly, I've been waiting all day to give it to him. So let's get right to it here on a Saturday night on Sportswire Radio, because we are now figuratively and literally all wrestling matters. So with that, wait for it. Further ado, here on the Sports Report. Number one sports show from the group Redux. He makes his Redux to Sportswire Radio. Simply put, he is the Born to Battle briefcase holder, the best on the card, Jake effing Yes. My friend, long time no speak. Did I just see you the other day or what?
Yeah, due to unfortunate circumstances, but it was fun to be on here, and it was fun to listen to you rip those guys a new one.
Yeah, I've been, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate, but I'm getting random messages from people that I haven't heard from in years. You're like, I didn't realize you were still doing this. People were like, wow, I didn't really know you spoke like that. I had somebody say the other day, wow, that was really interesting. But we're going to forget about all that for now, because Jake Matthews, is good to be with you. And, I guess, I'm going to actually start out in a different way. You're going to probably chuckle in what I bring up to start. But How did you have the hardcore championship in your possession to start that segment yesterday at Vortex with you and Power Surge? And what happened there? Because everybody was like, what was he doing with the hardcore championship? That's how I'm going to start things. You're probably like, wow, he really went there? And I figured, why not?
Well, you see, Zero can be sometimes forgetful. He left his hardcore championship in the Redux backstage locker room. So in a round, he was in the ring. I figured I'd be a great tag team partner.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, Mr. Matthews, you're this man that, man of hardcore, man of death matches, wrestling's your killing field. You're the best on the card. You've won the most championships. You bleed like some people in their dreams. You're more hardcore and you're pinky than anybody else. But yet you were gentlemanly like in giving back the hardcore championship to Zero. I mean, I just thought that, okay, maybe we'll break the ice here or what on Sportswire. But that was, I think, what everybody was waiting for to start Vortex yesterday. What happened there?
I mean, Zero's my tag team partner. He's with Redux. I saw the hardcore title, figured I was going out there anyways. We had all entire Redux back in the ring. We had Zero overlooking the final confrontation. My partner, my opponent next week, Power Surge with the Northeast title, but, figure I'd be a nice guy for once. I can be that every
Wow, you know what? I'll certainly say that was interesting. We'll see if that happens again. Probably not. But Jake, it is always good to be with you. I know people will certainly join the conversation shortly. And a few people just share the link, which is great. But let's actually start out with, we're having a match that we thought we would never see again. You and Power Surge, I've had you guys both on, not too in the near prior distant future. You guys have spoke about this match. You spoke about the history between you two guys, but we're going to see this, we would presume, for one more time. And because we thought last year at Calamity 7, that was it. That was going to be the final time between us, especially after what you guys put yourselves through in that match. And it even took a sudden death where you found a way to win. But for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, Jake Matthews, you may be the best on the card, but you are going to need every single ounce of being the best because you are going to try to wrestle away, figuratively and literally, that Northeast Championship from the Surge himself, Mr. Power Surge. And how are you going to be able to win yet again against him for those that are listening and watching at All Out War number 9 next weekend?
Well, you see, we've wrestled 10 times already. And believe it or not, I won the majority of those times. I won one more than Power Surge has beat me.
I knew that. I knew you won a majority. So that I actually knew going in.
We considered that to be the final time. Just so happens that Power Surge did not have an opponent, and I gave him the option on whoever he wanted to wrestle, and he chose me. So we're running it back one more time. I'm not going to advertise this one as being the final time. However, never say never. In the wrestling business, but back then we did consider it to be the final time. There was stuff behind this backstage, behind the scenes that we felt good with ending it there. But again, never say never. But I'm not going to be here saying that I will definitely win because there's always that chance of losing, especially with a guy like Power Surge.
I've seen him up close in front, and I've said this actually on several shows recently. This man, I don't think I've seen anything like him in the backyard and underground. The shape that this man is in, the size that this man is in, what he can do in the ring. I mean, he is truly a Power Surge. I mean, he's got more power in his surge than maybe most people that have come on this platform in the last week, let alone maybe even month. I mean, so that certainly speaks for itself. But let me ask you this question. Obviously, you came in, you won the last time. So how much have you thought about that? And maybe even going back to the tape and watched Calamity 7 to kind of help you prepare for what's ahead next weekend at All Out War 9?
Well, you see, it's not going to be a walk in the park. If it was someone like Silver Wolf, someone like Loose Cannon. Exactly. I wouldn't have to, worry about it as much. But I'm going against the man of power, the Power Surge himself. So looking back at all of our matches, I know the ins and I know the outs of what he wants to do in that ring and what he plans to do in that ring. However, he doesn't know exactly what I have up my sleeve.
Interesting.
But I will say this, there is no ill will between us. We are brothers on and off screen. Whoever wins that day is going to be just fine. Redux will stay Redux. If he wins, he wins. If I win, I win. There is no hard hatred between us, the better man will win that day. But I have been studying very closely our first match. I mean, we've known each other since April 2017. I've seen him
You
wrestle.
spoke about that here on the show a few months ago, the first time you came on. You talked about the history. He spoke about it as well. He spoke about how, important you've been to his career. And he's, a guy that's grown leaps and bounds. He's made so many changes in his life. And, he's a guy you've seen him, rapidly develop. So there's no question that you've meant a lot to him.
Well, there's one thing I would like to announce.
Uh-oh.
Let's just say that this isn't going to be a normal stipulation match.
I was wondering that because, okay, I know it's for the Northeast Championship, and there really wasn't said much at Vortex, and I'm actually going to pull up some more links here. You can see these links there on the screen, and let's get them to 2,000 subscribers here at NEW because they're almost there. So I've been saying it in my videos, I've been saying it on YouTube the last few times. I said, let's get there. Let's help them get there to 2,000 subscribers. But, okay, I expected that. Now, obviously, we've got a few days till the show itself. I'm sure when we have a few other guests, which I'll announce in a little while, come on the show, maybe we'll hear something. That's fine and well. But still, in a match like this, you've got the history there. You still have to separate that. You have to separate the history, redux, all of that to be able to get another victory here.
Yep.
I mean, how easy, and I've asked this to you before, but I'll still ask it again. How easy or how difficult is that going to be to separate those relationships that you have with Power Surge, whether it's in Redux or whether it's obviously the friendship that you have?
We both know when we step in that ring, especially when we're across the ring from each other, that we both are going to do anything and everything that it takes to walk out victorious. There's going to be no hard feelings, but Power Surge does know that I'm not going down without a fight. And if I'm going down, I'm bringing him with me. And same goes with the opposite way. If I'm going down or he's going down, we're not going down without a fight. We just know that we're going to go in there, kick each other's ass. We're going to hit each other very hard, unlike their other people in the underground wrestling community. We're not afraid to hit hard. And at the end of the day, we are still going to be brothers. It's not that difficult to understand that we both want to be the best. So it won't be difficult to go in there and push away friendship aside. However, once that bell rings at the end of the match, we're going to get up and hug it out just like any other time.
Okay, fair. But let me ask you then a question and tell me your thoughts on this. The last time you guys wrestled, how much did that take out of you in that match?
Well, he pushed me to the limit, and likewise to him. We actually had to go into the sudden death because it was only going to be a 30-minute Iron Death match, the first ever 30-minute death match, no holds barred, whatever you want to call it, stipulation that we've had in NEW. And I wasn't able to beat him without the sudden death. He was very, very close to beating me, and it only took one move, one lariat to knock his head off to get that 3. And who knows, maybe that's all I need this time.
And then, and we're actually going to do something for a surprise, and I will get to a few comments here in a second, but you even, if I'm not mistaken, pile drived him on the outside. I was surprised that the Surge even got up afterwards. I think you, if I recall correctly, you pile drived him on like crates. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Guys are like, oh boy, I get pile drived, and you pile drived him on crates, and eventually the Surge got, that's how big of a man he is. If it was anybody else, they would probably still be down. I mean, they might be, who knows what they could be, but the Surge eventually got up, and it was certainly a back and forth match, and it was one of those matches, like you said, an Iron Death match. For those out there that say, yeah, I'm hardcore, yeah, I'm this and that, but that was certainly one for the ages. So you've obviously got that. Do you feel psychologically then going into this, because you won the last one and you won the majority, but you feel pretty confident going into next weekend?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's always that chance where, it could be an off night for me, but seeing how I won the majority of the matches between me and Surge one-on-one, I feel pretty confident. And fun fact about that wooden pallet is actually the same wooden pallet that the wrestling ring came in on back in 2019. So we've had that for quite a long time.
Is that well? Let me ask you before I pull the match up. Is that superstition for you to keep it there and have it still around? Is that a superstition? Because some people are big into that. Some people, I'm actually myself very big into. I got to have the same lights put a certain way. I have to have the same jacket that goes on before I go on the air. I got to have everything a certain way. I have to be early so I can set the links up. Some people like I can just do it and go boom boom boom. But is that superstition for you to have that on the outside where it was still from 5 years later?
I mean, it's something that we just never got around to getting rid of, so it's always just been on that side. However, I don't know when exactly, because obviously we film far in advance. There will be a time where it gets ripped apart, not during a match, but it won't be around a lot like it used to be on the outside. So, fun fact, that's the second time I've ever pal drive somebody on that wooden pallet. The other time, well, the first time was Justin Abel Sane.
And by the way, we see him here, and as I mentioned when Mr. D Savage was here earlier this week, Mr. Abel Sane's going to be here Tuesday night in your chair. Well, maybe not quite your chair, but he's going to be here Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And Mr. Justin Abel Sane and you also share something in common, that you guys are both two-time All-Out War match winners. And I know we're watching the match here for a second, and we see what you just did there, because I obviously knew where it was because I just watched the match a couple of times not too long ago. So there's the magic of technology. But, talk about the All-Out War match being a two-time winner. You and Justin Abel Sane are the only two wrestlers to have carried that field, two of the wrestlers. And, how difficult is that to be able to not only win that match, but to win that twice, especially as the field has grown and we've seen people from many different places go into this match? Talk to the audience about that, what we're going to see next weekend in that.
Well, it's going to be everybody going out there, putting it all on the line for the opportunity to main event Star Clash for the Undisputed Championship. And you know what? I'm just going to throw in this. One of the All-Out War matches that Justin Abel Sane won, there was only 3 competitors, and now
so I got to give him an asterisk there, right? So when I have him on the show Tuesday, I have to treat it almost like an asterisk, kind of like maybe a Silver Wolf match, right? Oh, he's going to give me the receipt Tuesday, I'm sure, for that. Mr. Sane is going to be like, he is definitely going to be making sure that I feel I'm going to be insane in the membrane, insane in the main brain for that, whatever you want to call it at this point. So he's going to make me pay for that with a receipt, I am sure. But thank you for letting us know.
Yeah, so, I don't want to give him too much credit, but yes, he is the other person that won 2 times along with myself. In fact, when both of the times where the Undisputed or World title was on the line in the All-Out War match, he won that match. So, you know what? Congratulations to him. But one of those matches was only 3 contestants, and one of them was himself there. So he only had to go against 2 other people. But All-Out War matches, they tend to go on for a long time because nobody wants to be the one to get eliminated and have their dreams crushed. So sometimes these All-Out War matches, they go on for almost an hour, sometimes past an hour. So you have to really have enough energy, pace yourself, and hopefully you get the luck of the draw and you don't come out number 1, number 2. But, looking at the stats, people have won from the first entry.
Now, I watched the video last week on Vortex, and I was seeing, there was what a great hype package with the music and just seeing the history there. It almost felt like I was at a sporting event getting ready for something. And I was watching it, and I think it was somebody, I think it was D Savage was telling me it's only going to be a short show this week. You'll be disappointed. Now, I was watching it, and I was hyped up for it. But, you talked about something. I will get to comments. People are saying hello. I want to say hello to some friends that are here with us on a Saturday night, but talk to me about how you're able to prepare for a match like that. Now, I know we're going to come back to the Surge. We're going to definitely talk about that. We're watching the last time Jake Matthews and Power Surge were entering, which was last year on the NEW Underground Wrestling YouTube page, Calamity 7. Let's support them. If you're out there, hit that sub button. Let's get them to 2,000 subscribers, and let's also support them in a number of different links. But how do you prepare for a match like that? You've won the match, obviously. You've won the match twice. So in a match like that, and also with the field growing over the years, you have more participants, so that obviously means a longer match, obviously more strategy and different things you need to be able to do to hang on for a match like that. How are you able to then be able to win something like that, and how do you prepare for something as well for the audience that may not know what the All-Out War is until now they're hearing it?
Yeah, so the All-Out War match is pretty much our version of the Royal Rumble. The same premise, we'll start entering 1 and 2, enter the ring first, and then over a time period, the next entrant comes out, and then the last person in the ring main events star clash against the undisputed champion. To prepare for this match, I have quite a few ways. Last year, I took the easy way out, rolled underneath the ring, and hung out on.
For Randy Orton, we've seen him do that before, and others. Yes, okay, fair play. Fair
like, hey, I mean, it's not like the most good guy thing to do, but it lasts a long time, especially when people don't realize you're
Be
still.
careful saying "good guy" because I think that's copyrighted from CJ Black. Anytime the good guy, anytime on this platform, the word "good guy" gets mentioned, it's like the bat signal. I hear it from him either on an Instagram post or through a DM message about it. So just wanted to remind. Although you're Mr. Matthews, you're obviously got more hardcore and you're pinky than most people, and your wrestling's your killing field. So I don't think you're really worried about that much. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, I pace myself. I know when to stay in the ring and when to roll out, catch a breather. If there's so many people in the ring, I'll just roll out to the outside, wait till a couple people get eliminated, come back in, and just start throwing over people. So, I mean, sometimes there's no preparation for the match because you don't know who's coming out next, especially.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. As we're speaking with Jake Matthews, of course, he is the best on the card. He's the Born to Battle briefcase holder. He is going to be wrestling next week at NEW's All Out War 9 against Power Surge for the Northeast Championship. And it's funny you said that because I'm very good friends with the guy, the Tribal Cheese in the UK, who's a Rumble legend. I think he's only lost one Rumble in his career, which was this past January, where he technically won it, but he lost it because Jam Dog actually appeared in a Kane mask, but didn't come out, but his spot was taken away. Long story, but the point is he would talk to us on the air always about preparing for these over-the-top battle royals or rumbles, whatever you want to call them. And he would talk about basically preparing in terms of your spot in the match, finding a way to kind of just be able to maybe get a rest here and there. Or he would talk about just, certain angles where you'd want to stand and certain people you might want to look for, and just always having coordination, eye awareness, things like that. And I was like, oh, I didn't really realize it was going into those things. So let me ask you then, what does it mean to have been a two-time All-Out War winner?
It proves that when I call myself the best on the card. There's only one other person that did it, and you know what? Like I said, I don't give him that much.
And he's here Tuesday night. As I mentioned, you guys are, the only two-time winners, and obviously two of the winners and two of the two-time winners. And Mr. Abel Sane, I'm sure, is going to disagree with you on that. Let me get to some comments here as we're watching the last time you guys were in the ring, which I hope will give people a reason to go subscribe to the YouTube channel. James Taylor is here, who has competed in some hardcore and death matches. Well, maybe not so many death matches, but he's done some hardcore matches. He actually just had one of his matches rated by Mr. Copper Dragon, our guest last Sunday. He says, hello, Tom and Jake. I hope you're doing well. I want to say hello to one of our other participants, I believe, in the Riot in the Ring. How you doing there, my friend? Nice to see you. Mr. Mac 10. I don't know if Mac 10's a surprise entrance for something of some sort as to why I see him here. I don't want to spoil anything, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get shot by either Resurrection Wrestling or you. But I will say that hit hard, my death match, he laughs, and then he says, hit me up for a death match for them titles. So, Mr. I don't know if is there any coordination or correlation between you and Mac 10 for something? Do I need to give Mac 10's information to you or something? I can certainly do that. I can be a middleman, but Mac 10 is here. Mac 10 is obviously. I have a clip which I'll be posting later on my Instagram because he called out Jimmy Controversy for Pro Wrestling Venom. So I'm sure Mr. Controversy will be delighted to hear that rather than other individuals who were using his company's name and claimed they were hardcore deathmatch wrestlers. So good to see you too, Mac 10. Okay, so we'll come back to Mac 10 in a few minutes. But, I guess then going into back for the match with Power Surge, and you obviously were watching some of it here. Do you prepare differently for this match than the one last year?
Yeah. Because this time around, it's not a 30-minute Iron Man match. I don't have to, make sure that I'm pacing myself as much. But then again, I don't want to underestimate Power Surge either because, he has the agility, he has the speed and everything, But I've been with him in the ring long enough to know what he does, what he's aiming for. I think I have a pretty good chance to win this upcoming match. But It's going to be a little bit different since, he has held the Northeast Championship for over a year now. He
Oh, I
won
know. It's been a long time since he's held that championship. I mean, the
it.
run he's been on with that championship, we spoke about it here, and D Savage has been on here twice, and he tried so hard to take that championship from him, and he just can't do it. And he's had a run, and that's been one for the ages. And you think about in the underground, in the yard, his run and the people that he's gone up in the ring against time and time again, what this man has done has been, I think it speaks volumes, and it's why I talk about him all the time as being one of those guys that's one of the best in the yard, the underground. Maybe he is pound for pound up there. We talk about all the usual suspects, and I've been dropping his name the last couple of weeks, as I'm sure you've seen on different Sportswire radio shows, because of what this man does. Look at this man's size. Look at what this man's doing in the ring. You're a 15-year veteran. He's basically brought you down to your knees, and you know it better than anybody. So let me ask you that. What would it mean to you next coming Saturday, this Saturday, actually, basically it is, that you take that championship away from him and become the Northeast Championship holder? And what would that mean to you?
Well, this would be the first time that I've held that championship. So this championship is the only title in NEW that I haven't had the chance to hold yet that's currently active. And it just so happens that I am used to ending the title reigns of Power Surge. No disrespect to him. However, when he had held the undisputed title for 552 days, no one else was able to beat him but me. I ended his 552-day reign of undisputed champion, and I went on to have my own title reign at that point. So, I mean, this championship reign has been going on a little bit over a year. He won it May 6, 2023. So, I mean...
370 days we're talking about now.
Yep, me winning it would just prove once again why I call myself the best on the card. Because no one has been able to defeat Power Surge for this Northeast Championship. Not D Savage, not Tyson Spade. The list goes on and on.
Do I want to bring up Rocky Jackson, Prince Chandler? You were so funny when you brought them up. Yes. It was like your own version to Silver Wolf and Skulls and Tyler Ark. And I don't know if I should go there because those guys would really beat me up in the ring because they do have more skills than them. But it was the point that I was trying to make. That's all. Trying stand-up comedy in case I get kicked off the air, as you could say.
You know what's funny is that I did not know what the hell Sane was doing at that point. I didn't realize what he was trying to do to my back at that point. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, Rocky Jackson, I'll say this: he's not even a warrior in my mind. He is no better than Silver Wolf in my Prince Chandler, another story. I'm not going to talk about him because you know what? There's always something that he's going to have to say. And I'm just done dealing with him. But sorry, I forgot where we were even at.
I was gonna say, what's so fascinating is that you had a run with Power Surge as the undisputed champion for over 500 days. He's currently the champion for 370 days with the Northeast Championship. Do you then go back to how you were able to defeat him for the undisputed title as a way to say, you know what? I've already done, you kind of talked about it anyway, but I'll still ask you the same question. You've already done this before. You can do it again. He's been champion for a long time. And sometimes, and we talk about this all the time, sometimes in sports or even in wrestling, when somebody's been a champion for so long, they get accustomed to it. And sometimes somebody can come in there and pull the carpet from underneath them, and they're able to find ways. It's so different as a chaser than you are as the guy being chased. And maybe in this case, because you've got the experience as a chaser that's beaten him when he's the champion, that kind of gives you, again, what we stated earlier in the show, that confidence, because you not only won this match, you've won the majority of the matches, but you've also beaten him in an instance that he had been a champion for over a year, similar to where we are now. So is that fair to say that maybe it's easier in your shoes as the guy that's trying to chase him as the champion, because he's had now a second run where he's been a champion for over a year?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I'm more hungry for this because not only I haven't had a singles title for a few months, I haven't won this championship at all in my career. And a lot's riding on me for this moment. I have the advantage over Power Surge. If I lose this, that means we're tied again. And then he goes in walks out as champion, then I have no Northeast Championship on my side, on my shoulder. But I mean, if we want to look at it the other way too, Power Surge, if he were to lose this match, he has something to lose. You know what I mean? We both have something to lose. I think I'm a little bit more hungry. I think he got accustomed to just walking out with the champion, being known as champion. I know he's not going to underestimate me, but I think I'm a little bit more motivated for this match.
And I think it's fair to say that if you win this match, yet again, another victory over him, I think it's basically fair to say that, Jake Matthews, you're his kryptonite. We look at his career, you're the guy that's got a majority of the victories in the matches you guys have competed against each other. So for me, I think it's very fair to say that if you win next weekend, you're his kryptonite.
I will say this, it's weird because me and him hasn't really had a big rivalry between each other. I mean, leading up to Star Clash 4, we had different point of views, and I guess you can consider it a little bit of a rivalry, but I think we've had a very unique fight forever feud with each other without it being really a feud. We both go in there. Most of the time we're brothers. I think there was only maybe one time when we went in there not as friends, so to say. But like since April 2017, all of our matches has really been going out there and just scaling the show, proving who is the better man on that day. I will say this, he is definitely my biggest rival in wrestling. I've had a few, but I would say he's definitely the number one, even though we haven't had much of a hatred towards one another.
Well, figuratively, he's got to be the biggest because there's really nobody literally in the yard or in the underground, or even in the indies, I got to be honest, that looks like
there is a guy that's named Big Bad Silverwolf, so I mean, talking about big people, it's in his name.
I mean, he's got a big bad bald patch on the top of his head. I mean, if you want to talk about that, yes, there's no question that he's got a big bad bald patch on the top of his head that I'm sure nobody in the yard, nobody in the underground, nobody in the indies, maybe nobody in the pros even has. After all, because Shawn Michaels shaved, he had a bald patch, and he actually decided, I'm going to go and just shave it all off and just kind of go with it. So, yeah, there's nobody currently around that has that big bad bald patch that the Silver Wolf has. I mean, if the Silver Wolf wants to be known for something, it shouldn't be for his hardcore wrestling. It shouldn't be for the Triple L. It shouldn't be for all the quote-unquote championships he's won. It shouldn't be for him not running the ropes. It shouldn't be for him not being able to know how to fall. It shouldn't be him anything else that he quote-unquote has said he's done in the ring. What he should be known for most, for those that are listening and watching on Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters, is that all bald patches matter, because the big bad Silver Wolf has the biggest bald patch of them all.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. But let's not forget about all the crossovers, the talk shows, all the crossover talk shows that they have every
I lost count on how many of them, but that might be for a different conversation for a different time. But the point is that Power Surge, there is nobody like him. And you have never faced anybody like him, and there's nobody like him at all anywhere. And that's why I'm so excited to watch this match, All Out War 9. You can watch the match here on the NEW Underground Wrestling YouTube page. You can also support them on Instagram. You can support them on Facebook. You can support them so many different ways. Patreon as well. And there are some of the links, and my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling matters. And sometimes I do try to play a bad stand-up comic, but sometimes I get a lot of materials from the likes of the Big Bad Silver Wolf and Tyler Ark and Skulls and Adonis Felios and everybody else in between. So excuse me for giving me some material, guys. But obviously you can see this match here and also many other matches. They're on the YouTube channel of NEW, and I've got more coverage coming up for NEW tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time. I think it's a great segue. We'll come back to this match. Certainly is the match we get to see a winner here. Spoiler, if you didn't watch it, you're going to see one here in a few minutes. A man that I know very well, a man that I had on once upon a time, I want to say about 15 or 16 months ago. He is a long time veteran in the hardcore deathmatch scene. He is a man that has won championship after championship, and he is a man that I know very well in the upstate New York area. Yes, you might want to put the beanie cap on for this one here, Jake Effin Matthews. You might be the best on the card. You might be the Born to Battle briefcase holder, but you are going to certainly be in for something when we hear from the long-awaited return of Stephen Havoc. Stephen Havoc is here Eastern time ahead of his return to the ring at the Riot in the Ring coming up on June the 1st. And Stephen Havoc is a man, he always has something to say. He is a man that always, listen, he wants to talk about guys that have just hardcore in their pinkies. I mean, this guy, his blood is literally glass. I mean, this guy bleeds glass when he goes. I have watched what this man has put his body through over his 20-plus year career, and this man has done it all in the RWA, most notably. He beat the tar out of some guy that has 3 initials, not going to go there and tell you who it is. He's only like an 8 Hall of Fames. He made up like eight of them, and, you know, maybe does movies. He made up those in his mind. But the point is that Stephen Havoc is live tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, to talk about his appearance in the Riot in the Ring, to talk about his career. Who knows whatever else is on his mind. And boy, Stephen Havoc is going to be in the Riot in the Ring. D'Angelo, the Flame is in the Riot in the Ring. Doc Holliday, Brax. I mean, you got a who's who of people. Gabe Sayers. I mean, so many people from outside of NEW, and I can't wait to talk about it, and especially with Mr. Stephen Havoc. Stephen Havoc is here live, and my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. We are here with Mr. Jake Effin Matthews. Jake, let me get to some comments. I know Mac 10 has got a few things he'd like to say. His time is, I know time is almost up. Yeah, I mean, the time in the match is almost up. Thank you for letting us know. I don't know what that was referring to. And Mac 10 wants me to play a clip. I'm going to try to play the clip. I will try to play it toward the end of the show. He played me a clip of something. I will try to get it up onto my email. So give me like 15 minutes for that, Mac. I will definitely put that down. And also, I think Mac wants more hardcore wrestling. I don't know if he's trying to opine to come into the Riot in the Ring. Obviously, you've won the match. And that wolf has been put down. Yeah, that wolf has been put down, but obviously the big bold patch is definitely the best bold patch of them all, and he's got the unique distinction of being the best one. And everyone will know later. Thank you for letting me know. I hope that you will let me know before the show is over. So we're going to take this off the screen for now because obviously you've won the match. Congratulations, even though the match already happened. But you know, we'll come back to that, and I will take this comment off the screen because I want to pull something else up here, which I will get to Mac 10 in a few minutes. We're going to pull this up on the logo. Okay, so obviously we have some outsiders that are coming into the Riot in the Ring. Let's transition. I'm going to transition to you being an outsider for a second as well. So we've got some different names coming up here. Tomorrow is Stephen Havoc. Now, I don't know your familiarity with Mr. Havoc. He is a man I've had on this platform. He is a man I've watched in the RWA. He is a man, his history I know extremely well. He's here tomorrow. He's one of those under-the-radar guys that if you know what he brings to the table. This is one of the guys that I would pay attention to very closely. As a matter of fact, he might be the Northeast version, the New York version of Mac and his accomplishments. And I was wondering, what do you expect from Stephen Havoc coming up here? And obviously, he famously, for announced being in the Riot in the Ring, used one of our last conversations. So I'm expecting Mr. Havoc to be watching this, and I'm expecting Mr. Havoc to maybe quote some of the things I've said about him, because I did say I know him. I know him very well, and you're going to get a chance to know him up close on June the 1st. And what do you expect here coming up with an outsider like Stephen Havoc in the Riot in the Ring on June the 1st?
I expect him to bring everything he got because, like you said, there's so many outsiders coming into NEW. Everyone's going to go out there and do their best. And I would love to see what Stephen Havoc has to offer NEW. I haven't really watched a lot of his matches. Like you said, about his one match with somebody with 3 initials in his name. I did watch that. I think I did watch another one when he was in RWA, but I haven't.
Yes, that was earlier in the season last year, correct?
Yeah. I haven't watched much of him, but I've heard a lot of great things about him. I've seen all the clips that he's posted in his hype packages, so very excited to have him here. And I look forward to possibly, maybe even seeing him in the ring at the Riot in the Ring.
Well, let me ask you a question in a different way, and I'm going to ask Mr. Havoc this question, and you're going to probably say, wow, it's an interesting question. I hadn't thought about it this way. Now, Stephen Havoc has been around a long time in the yard. He has been a veteran for over 20 plus years. He started out a long time ago, kind of like when a James Taylor started once upon a time. You're in it 15 years. You look like a rookie compared to him and his experience with when he first started. Can guys like him, who may have had a lot of success recently, but in terms of what they've done in the body of work over the past several years, pales into comparison to names like yourself, even names like Doc Holliday, who has been able to, go with the times. He's been able to stay relevant. He's been able to keep up with the times, and he's been able to obviously be a part of a number of different things. And I'll get to something that you potentially are going to be watching in person. I'll get to that in a few minutes. But with guys like Stefan Havoc, who yesterday might have been the news, but today maybe they've been passed by the likes of yourself and the likes of certainly a Doc Holliday, and even guys that are going to be in the riot in the ring like a D'Angelo LaFlame, and even insiders here from our company like D Savage and Power Surge, and certainly Justin Abel saying who's going to be here Tuesday. Can a guy that once upon a time was at the top of the hardcore deathmatch scene in a Stefan Havoc, can he hang with the new generation, quote unquote, the new generation of guys that we're going to see in the riot in the ring coming up in 3 weeks from now? You think that's a fair statement for me to ask?
Definitely a fair statement, and I would love to answer that question and that statement, but I mean, I don't even got an exact answer, but have to wait and
I was
see.
hoping for like some meat there, Jake. You're obviously the guy that's wrestling your killing field. I was expecting, something rough and tumble, because I know Mr. Havoc's listening right now, and he will be.
I mean, we'll see if he's able to hang. There's a lot of younger guys in here. I mean, does his age take a part in the rider ring? I mean, we have guys like LaFlame. We have guys like Tyson Spade. We have Reyes Silver. We have a lot of younger generation of wrestlers. Will his age hold him back a little bit?
I think that's a big question, because, again, once upon a time, he was the Tyson Spades. He was the Reyes Silvers. He was the D Savages. Even guys like Power Surge, guys like yourself. He was that. But now there was a period of time that he wasn't that. And now he has to be able to adapt. He has to be able to compete with them. Doc Holliday has been able to do that. But Doc Holliday, he was able to continue to thrive. Mac 10, who's here, he's been a guy that's been able to do that, to go into the Carnage Cup. Brax is obviously somebody else we know. Gabe, I'm not going to go there about Gabe Sayers and the Sandwood, the Egg Noon, whatever it was with D Savage. I ain't going to ask you that question. But the point is that Stefan Havoc, he may have a lot to prove here coming up in 3 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at the roster for the Riot of the Ring. There's a long list of, like, talent that
I missed people, and who I already mentioned. Look at who I already mentioned, and I'm still missing people. I mean, that shows you pound for pound. There are companies out there. Yeah, we got tournaments. Yeah, we got battle royals. And what do they have? 4 people, 5 people, 6, 7? I mean, maybe if I count eeny, meeny, meeny, miny, mo, I mean, maybe one guy is one person, then plays another character, and then the other wrestler does the same thing, and that's what they count. But in this particular case here, Riot in the Ring, we have some of the best currently, pound for pound, in the underground, the yard, and in the indies. And Mr. Havoc, he's going to certainly have a challenge. Can he hang with them? It's one thing in RWA. It's one thing in RWA with guys with 3 initials that have been doing it, quote unquote, for 30 years, and quote unquote in 8 Hall of Fames, and quote unquote rap, and quote unquote are actors, but maybe it's a figment of their imagination. But the facts are is that he's got to be able to compete in the big leagues. He's got to be able to compete with a new generation of talent. And sometimes for those who were yesterday's news, it's hard to be able to stay relevant and be today's news.
Very true. Very true. No offense to Stefan Havoc, in my personal opinion, he's not one of the guys in the roster for Riot in the Ring that I'm worried about. There's a few people in that tournament that I am looking forward to seeing how they do and seeing if we get the chance to be in the ring, but he's not one of the people that I'm worried about. There's a few people that...
So tomorrow night, he's going to address that. So Mr. Havoc, and I know Mr. Havoc. I have had him on my platform about 15 months ago. So I know Mr. Havoc. I know what he brings to the table, and he's going to address these things. But, you talked but it was going to be a lot of fun with Mr. Havoc because I know him very well. But you spoke about outsiders and people you're interested to see. You know I have to bring this name up, and I think I'm talking about because he's going to be here Thursday. He's going to be here Thursday night, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, to not only be here to talk about the riot in the ring, but also to take his place in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. And I'm talking about right now the man that is arguably, I think, the darling of the backyard and the underground wrestling scene, D'Angelo LaFlame. It was announced here last week on this platform as a post went up on the NEW Instagram page, which I'm going to pull up some social medias back up here in a second. And it was posted there when my segment was on with a man who's talked for ages about being in NEW, Mr. Aaron Blaze, the self-proclaimed headline and main event. But until he shows up to NEW, it could be a dubious claim if he's the headline in the main event, but I'll leave that for a different time and a different conversation on this platform. But D'Angelo LaFlame is the man that right now a lot of people think he's the guy to take the mantle from Jack Delta. He's the man that's been traveling all over the place. He's traveled in Alabama, defended the Resurrection Wrestling Internet Championship there in the Alliance Wrestling League. We've seen him in Tennessee backyard wrestling. Good old TBW. TBW might have hardcore wrestlers, but I don't think that the hardcore you see in TBW would pale into comparison to NEW. What you see in TBW would almost be like Heinz ketchup packets used for blood. What you see in TBW with those chair shots, they almost might be like styrofoam shots. Here in NEW, we do it a little bit more real. We do it a little bit more intense. What you see is what you get in NEW. With all due respect to TBW, of course, they have a different way of doing things. I don't think it's the same way as NEW. Mr. LaFlame has been very successful in TBW. He has been there many times. He's defended his championship there. But he's coming here up north where the big boys play, where it's real, where it's underground, where it's hardcore. And I'm asking you, Jake Matthews, as a man that has traveled, a man that has won the most championships of any Hall of Famer in the entire history of Sportswire Radio, do you think that D'Angelo LaFlame, despite all the success, all the hype, being this darling right now of the scene, can he compete here where it's real in the riot in the ring 3 weeks from today?
Most of the time, I could go in here and talk shit about people. However, I do not think that D'Angelo LaFlame will have any issue with wrestling at NEW. I think he will be able to keep up. In fact, he's one of the names that I look forward to and hopefully get the chance to work with at Riot in the Ring. And yes, I think he will be able to keep up. I mean, I haven't seen him do hardcore matches yet. So that would be very interesting to see him getting taken out of his element. However, I think he'll be able to hang. I think he'll be one of the people.
Don't you think, though, it's a fair question to ask? Because, there are a lot of people, though, that say, yeah, I'm here, I'm there. Obviously, Anthony Steele interjected himself in your Hall of Fame show. And, Aaron Blaze was here last week, and he spoke about NEW. There's a lot of guys that are these self-proclaimed darlings, these self-proclaimed traveling men, and they go to different places. And, the list is long. And, but the facts is that D'Angelo LaFlame is stepping into an environment and stepping into a match that he's never competed in before. It's one thing when you wrestle guys like, I don't know, Gage Flair and Russell Cooper and even Atomic Titan and, other guys like Neff and, you're in the ring with guys like ADT and, AJ Morgan. But it's different when you're in the ring with guys like yourself and certainly the Surge. We saw what he looks like here just a little while ago. D. Savage, Tyson Spade, Justin Abel Sane. Boy, if you feel like you're going to cross him, you better be careful because you will be insane in the membrane. Rhea Silver ain't too bad. I mean, even names like, yes, Rocky Jackson and Prince Chandler, I mean, they would certainly, I think, would be almost worthy of championship material and even any other promotion that comes in here. So the point is that Mr. LaFlame has been extremely successful. I love Mr. LaFlame's work. I've watched him in 3 promotions. But I've watched this promotion a lot the last few months. And I've watched the talent in this promotion. And I've watched gentlemen who you've wrestled, peers and colleagues of yours, come on this platform. I'm going to see here Justin Abel saying coming up here this Tuesday. And I still ask that question. D'Angelo LaFlame, I do not think has faced anything for about what he's going to see here coming up 3 weeks from now at Riot in the Ring.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. It's definitely going to be something that he'll have to get used to really quick if he wants to make it far into the tournament. Just like you said, you know, Power Stars, D Savage, Justin Abel Sane, these are 3 big guys. I mean, in his hardcore, I don't know if D'Angelo Flame is used to being hardcore.
I don't think, with all due respect to Drake Golddragon, to respect to Neff when he was in Resurrection Wrestling, certainly Xavier Thorne, the standout, a man that D'Angelo Flame was in the ring with. You know, certainly the likes of, again, Gage Flair, woo! Russell Cooper and Jay Wild the Prophet, and even in Alabama with Dylan Andrews, the war criminal, and ADT, and AJ Morgan, and Seth Maverick, and Travis Hunt. Love all those names. They're phenomenal talents. They're some of the very best around. But stepping into these waters is just a little bit different, and it could be some uncharted waters for Mr. LaFlame, and he may not be ready, and he may not know what's coming and what's going to hit him figuratively and literally, I think, on June the 1st. I'm just saying, I don't know. Help me. Mr. Matthews, come at me here. Hit me with a kendo stick if I'm wrong. Mr. Matthews, make me bleed. When I had Radu Bula, who's a UK deathmatch star, and I actually bled on my video to announce him to basically make the point. But for you, Mr. Matthews, or anybody in the locker room, anybody watching out there, tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that I'm wrong, that D'Angelo LaFlame has faced anything for what he's about to see coming up on June the 1st, because I don't think he has. And I've watched, again, there is nobody out here right now, pound for pound. I'm going to say it right now. There is nobody pound for pound that watches as much wrestling and as much promotions as yours truly. There is nobody. And I don't think D'Angelo LaFlame has seen or wrestled anybody in what he's about to see coming up in Massachusetts 3 weeks from now.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see, huh?
We'll have to find out by supporting NEW and certainly following them on their social media channels.
I will say, out of everybody who says that they're going to come to NEW, out of everyone that throws out challenges to me, throws out challenges to everybody on the roster, I do believe that LaFlame will show up. I mean, we've had...
Oh, he will definitely show up. No, LaFlame, Listen, let me tell you something. He's a competitor. LaFlame is a guy, and I'm excited to see him in NEW, by the way. LaFlame is really, to me, he's one of the best people I've had a chance to cover inside and outside the ring. He is, I root for a lot of people. Obviously, I root for everybody here at NEW. You guys have become, one of my, actually, pun intended, new favorites. But Mr. LaFlame is a man that I've known for a while. Mr. LaFlame, I've known back, when he was just starting out Resurrection Wrestling. So I've known his body of work. He's a man I root for. But I can also tell you, he is a man that will come here. He will definitely not be like other people that'll say they'll show up and fake cancer to get out of it. He won't be like other people that'll say, yeah, I'm going to be there or not be there. He will be there, and he will give it 110%. And I think this is, again, credit to you guys, credit to Resurrection Wrestling for making this happen, because this is what it's all about. This is what it's about. All wrestling matters. Together we will win, because we're seeing the very best compete. This is what it's about. D'Angelo LaFlame, and credit to the guys in Alabama, the Alliance Wrestling League, credit to Hillbilly Tilly and everybody there that made that happen. He went there in that promotion, defended his championship. He went there and competed with their very best talent. And this is what it's all about. I want to see the best and the brightest out there. I want to see who can be out there, because this is what it's about. At the end of the day, we're all here for the love of this sport. We're all here to make our lives better and the people around us better. And I think by what we're going to see here, credit to everybody here at NEW, credit to Resurrection Wrestling, all the talent that is going to come from different promotions to be here. And I think that speaks volumes. So I want to put that out there, that I commend everybody that is going to have the opportunity to see wrestlers wrestle from other promotions against the talent that we have here at NEW.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for the event. I can't wait to meet all these individuals I haven't had the chance to meet so far. I mean, guys like The Flame, Stephen Havoc. I mean, there's multiple people I can't even remember. I think we have a total of 25. We originally had 32, but being a booker and being a
You
part.
might need a scorecard basically to remember who's on first, who's on second, who's
Listen,
on third, and
I think it's easier to actually have a list of people who says that they're going to come that doesn't, and then versus the people that actually show up, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I like Anthony Steele, but ever since he told me that he would hit me up about coming to Ride in the Ring, I haven't heard a single word. So if he's
well,
listening, I'm still waiting.
Well, I think Mr. Steele spoke about car issues a few days ago on Sportswire, but I'm not going to speak for Mr. Steele. If he can figure his way to come out, that would be a really good thing. I know Aaron Blaze is a man that I would love to see on June 1st, but again, I'm not quite sure, but if you want to follow NEW, you have all their social media pages, and we have their Instagram channel where you can get some more information. You have Vortex 28 is up. You see all the stuff going there between D Savage and Tyson Spear. You see some guy that might look like me, sadly, there on the video. You have some other announcements there. D'Angelo the Flame, Aaron Blaze. You got Justin Abel Sane is going to be here Tuesday. Just a long list of talent here, and I'm excited about all of it. But, I wanted to ask you something real quick. I'll get to comments. I know Mac 10's got a few things to say. I'm going to put a video of his up. He wanted me to show it. I'm going to do that here in a few minutes. But, I had noticed, Jake, and I know obviously you're a very busy man. You've got a lot going on, but I had noticed something that you had bought a ticket for something that's coming up that I'm actually going to be covering as well in a few weeks. And it's actually not too far from you. It's actually right down the road. And it's for a little company called the TF Crew. Ring a bell. And they have a thing called Death Row. As a matter of fact, I actually mentioned it in my introduction of you coming back onto the platform. And I was wondering there, I hope you have good seats there on June 15th, because I know that there's going to be, a lot of matches I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to Mikey Anarchy and Angel Santiago, Mr. Celebrity Boxer. He might need some of those skills to deal with Mikey Anarchy, and a who's who of other people that are going to be out there. In fact, some of the individuals we're going to see in Riot in the Ring are going to be there at Death Row. And I was wondering, hopefully maybe you get your popcorn early there for Death Row and get a nice seat.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I have to buy the best seat in the house. So there's one match in particular, but I won't name it, but I want to keep a very close eye on. A lot of good talent there. Even one of our own, Justin Abel Sane. We have Kobo from TF Crew, who's on Ride Ring. We have multiple people coming back and forth between our shows, and there's just one match in particular that I really want to see in person, and I'll make sure I have a very good seat. I'm even bringing my fiance.
Oh wow, I mean, the fiance is coming to watch. Boy,
yeah,
special there.
There's just this one match in particular that I'm very excited for.
I'm going to let the audience maybe figure that one out. And I'm going to say that I'll have coverage of that on June the 15th. I guess maybe I could ask you, though, real quick, what do you think, though, at Anarchy and Mr. Santiago? You have a thought or two on that? Santiago's a man I've actually had on a bunch of times. I'm just curious. I know you're a busy man. I know you're focused on Riot in the Ring. You got Power Surge. You're certainly not overlooking any of that. But I was just curious, any thoughts on all that?
My money's on Anarchy. You see, if someone comes over and spits in my face, then we're gonna have problems. So I think, I know there's been more that happened between the two, other than that. But if someone spit on my face, I'm gonna make sure that motherfucker gets a good hit coming to him. So, looking at the size advantage, Anarchy, talking about someone that will do anything that it takes to win, Anarchy. My money already, Anarchy.
Now, I was wondering if you could do this actually for me. Now, I know you're going to be there. I know, obviously, you're in attendance. I know you're going to be mobbed by all your fans. You got the fiance there, your better half. And obviously, you're going to obviously be focused on that. But if you have a chance, because when a few weeks ago on this platform, there was somebody else that was announced for the TF Crew, who's actually become, a good friend. And in many ways, he's actually the inspiration to this whole All Wrestling Matters World Underground Championship. I'm actually going to ask you a question on a few minutes for Mr. Rad Dad Radley Belmont. He is the GTS Workhorse Champion. He's the double champion. And, I was wondering if you can give him my regards. I know, obviously, you'll be focused on a lot of other things. You've obviously got this one match in particular. You obviously want to make sure you have a nice seat. You want to make sure, obviously, you get the popcorn early. You want to make sure, you have the beverages, and, make sure you're obviously not dealing with anybody else that wants to, pick a fight with you and, give you a hard time. I just wanted to, if you could, give him my regards, because obviously he's a man that we certainly have had on this platform, and we have a lot of admiration for, if you might want to say.
Yeah, no, I totally will. I do look forward in speaking with him if I get the chance to. He's somebody that I've had the pleasure of meeting and talking with back a few years, well, a few years more than that, 5 years ago, essentially.
I think when he was just getting into the stepdads, he was just starting to have success at that point.
GBYWN WrestleFrat.
Yes.
I was able to meet him there, talk to him. So actually, in fact, he was almost going to be driving with me and the other person I drove with down to ICW that one time when I went there.
ICW, that definitely rings a bell. Yes, it does.
He couldn't get the time off or something like that. He had some plans that was planned ahead of time, something, but he was almost going to be driving down there with us. So if I see him, if I get the chance to talk to him, I'll definitely do that for you, Tom.
I appreciate that very much. Let me get to a few comments here. This individual, who I may or may not know, that egg roll lives rent-free, baby. I think that's related to an individual that recently came on the platform. Resdi and IWA hit better than NEW. Interesting there. Interesting there, Mac 10. You implying something? He also said that he trained LaFlame and he can hang. Oh, listen, I can't wait to see Mr. LaFlame here at the Riot in the Ring. Rocky sucks, Prince blows. It was a figure of speech. But I would still contend, though, that you can say what you want about them, but in many other promotions, they would still be, I think, world champion material. That shows you the depth of the NEW roster. That's all.
What I'm going to say to Mac 10 is that our chops and farms, the ones that me and Tim hit each other, well, Power Surge hits each other with, they are definitely hard. I haven't really seen much of your work. I mean, you could hit hard, you could not. I don't know. But, step in the ring with Power Surge, get chopped, get forearms. You're going to realize that we're not holding back with each other. So that's all I got to say. I mean, again, those people might be hitting harder than us. I don't watch their product, so I don't know.
Fair. But and that's a good answer. That's an honest answer, and I appreciate it, because sometimes guys come in, yeah, I can do this, this, and that, and then they were like BSing you. Yeah. Want to say hello to one of my buddies out there, Mr. Big Tex, who is the big man of DBW, and DBW, I believe, is supposed to have their Apocalypse show to be released at some point soon, and Big Tex will be on here in the next few weeks. So Big Tex, nice to see you as always. Okay, so I want to ask you something here before I do something which I think might be interesting for the audience. We'll have to leave that at bay for a few minutes, quote unquote. But Mr. Matthews, I mentioned in my announcing of you coming on this platform that you might be the best Hall of Famer in Sportswire radio history. You've won the most championships. You've obviously defeated this guy, Power Surge, more times than him. So maybe I should ask you, and do you think you are the best Sportswire Radio Hall of Famer? After all, you've won the most championships. And certainly if you beat the Surge next Saturday, what a resume builder that is compared to some of the other Hall of Famers. I mean, certainly, I know you got the edge over C2K. I know you got the edge over Craven Rage. I know you got the edge over Skulls. I know you got the edge over some other people. But the facts is that you actually have the edge over every single Hall of Famer. And that even includes the likes of Anthony Steele and Atomic Titan and James Taylor and Omen Black and Soulja GP and, a list of other great talents. Josh Allen and certainly Josh Fletcher of XCW. Everybody's got the edge over him. Justin Parsley. I mean, I can keep going. Jackson Law. He's a name that was once ballyhooed in the yard. But the point is that you have the most championships of anybody that's out in the entire Hall of Fame. And maybe if you beat the Surge, maybe we should just say, you know what? You're the greatest, and we should just close up shop in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame, cap it to whoever we last inducted, Levi McDaniel on Thursday's show, and maybe let Mr. LaFlame go in, this coming Thursday because, well, he's going to be at Riot in the Ring, but cap it in because, you're the best. You've won the most championships, and if you beat the Surge and you win the Northeast title, you've got every title in NEW history, and I think that maybe that's a wrap on it, and you're the greatest.
Yeah, I will say this. No, I don't think that I'm the best Hall of Famer. I will say that I do believe that I am better than maybe some or more than some of the people in the Hall of Fame. However, Fun fact, when I called myself the best on the card, I remember getting so much fucking hate from so many people in the yard community because they really truly believe that I thought that I was the best of all time and this and that. I played into it, of course, but I burnt like a few bridges of people that I actually was friends with. So instead of them coming to me and saying, "Hey, is this legit?" they just like straight up would just like stop talking to me. So no, I don't personally think that I'm the best on the card. It's not something that I'm over here. Yeah, fuck everybody else. I'm better than you. I'm humble. I'm humble. The best on the card, Jake Matthews, that you see in NEW is a completely different person that you see. I mean, of what I am outside of wrestling. There is definitely a lot of people better than me. However, I wouldn't say that I'm the worst out there. I'm not going to say that I'm on the likes of Loose Cannon, Silver Wolf. There's a few people that you named in your Hall of Fame that I do think I'm better than. I won't say who.
Fair. I respect that.
I don't consider myself the best one that you have in the Sports Radio Hall of Fame because I'm not that cocky. I'm sure that if you had other people on air,
I think I know who they would be. I think there's a couple.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, there's a couple I know that if I brought them on the platform and I asked them that question, I know the answer they would give me.
Oh yeah,
I know them.
They're the best, man. How could I call myself the best on the card when we have a hardcore king down in Tennessee?
And he's coming on the platform Monday, by the way.
Oh, he is.
He's here Monday night.
Oh, good for him. I'm sure if you ask him that question, he'll give you a different answer. But
he would say that we have to bow down to him. We would have to say that we'd have to bow down to him and, pay our respects because he's the hardcore king. And, he's obviously, a man that's going to be here. He's going to be here, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. He's going to be here. And, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say, Mr. Titan.
I hear him saying that, he's more hardcore than Jimmy Controversy, Mike Anarchy.
And Mr. Controversy is going to be there at Death Row, by the way. You're going to probably see Mr. Controversy. I'm sure.
He claims that he's more hardcore than all these people, but, I don't even claim that I'm more hardcore than them. And I know for a fact that I'm way more hardcore than Titan will ever dream of.
Well, it's funny you said that because I know that Mr. Titan is out there and listening, and I'm actually going to give you a little surprise in a second. It's not Mr. Titan, but as a matter of fact, I've had on some big names in the hardcore wrestling lore. Obviously, you're definitely one of those guys, but, I've had some guys on like, I don't know, Radu Bulad, and, I've had some guys on the platform. Mr. Hardcore was supposed to be in the Riot in the Ring. And, Mr. Titan's name has come up and mention his name, people kind of look at me and they laugh and they say,
who?
But I say he's the hardcore king. And, you have to pay your respects to him. And people still look at me and they say, well, who? And I try to tell them, but they don't seem to think that he's in the status of the likes of, like I said, Radu Bulad and yourself and Mr. Controversy, Mr. Anarchy, and maybe even somebody else that might actually want to pay a visit. Maybe he's politicking. Maybe he's doing his own politicking to try to be in the Riot in the Ring. Maybe he's trying to do his own politicking.
I thought it was
what's up, Jay? But no, you're safe from me coming to the Riot in the Ring because I've got some other prior engagements with GCW.
Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to be seeing you on my big TV then. Okay.
You might.
Okay.
But no, I'll be up in that general vicinity around y'all. But no.
So what's on your mind? You're here. You'd like to say something.
I can give credit where it's due, Jake. You are good at what you do.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, them cookie sheet shots and other shots that y'all are doing, man. Come on, man. Make it more believable, brother.
I don't know what you're talking about. How much harder do you want me to hit power?
Hey, Tom, you got it ready?
Let me try to get it up on. I'm gonna go put through OneDrive here. Give me like 2 minutes.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the short one.
The first one. I got the first one. You got to give me 1 second. I don't know. I got to be able to get it up. Okay, 1 second. Only because it's a download. Let me see. Pull up here. 1 second. Okay, open the file. And I'm going to save it. You might need a minute or two. Nope, that's not it. Okay, let me see if I can. I may not be able to get it. Okay, here we go. All right, now I might be able to get it. Okay, give me 1 second.
The other two that I sent you, the first one I sent you would be the first one to play. The second one that I sent you on that is the second one to play, Jake. And I just kind of want you to watch the carnage.
I just have to be able to get it up.
That's if you can get it up.
If I can get it up, I have to pull it up.
Just send it to me. I'll send you my username and shit like that.
I'll send it to you. If he can't get it up, I'll send them to you.
Where?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think I can get it up because it's a 3GP download. Let me see if I can. While I do that here, speaking of hardcore though, while I try to figure this out, Mr. Atomic Titan is here, and he's going to be here Monday night. By the way, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You know, Mac 10. You know, obviously we'll see him in GCW with you. Will you think Mr. Titan will be there with you in GCW?
No, he's too scared. He's going to run. I'll be right back.
But he's the hardcore king, though.
I mean, Mac 10 versus Titan. That sounds like a TBW.
I would love to see that. I mean, you know, Resi and TBW have a great relationship. Why not? I mean, you guys work together. You know, we all get along. We love Resi and TBW's relationship. I mean,
I might break him like a toothpick.
I mean, that might get views. You know,
I'll be right back.
With that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try one more thing. If I can, I might actually be able to get the video up here. Give me 1 second. I might actually be able to get it up. Let me see. Let me try one more time here. Let's see here. Let me try this. And try this while we do that here. Yes, you want to follow Mr. Matthews while we're at it here on Sportswire Radio. Check him out. He is on Instagram. You want to check out NEW. You can do that as well. Okay, I think I might. Let me try this here. Let's see if this will pull up. Boom. I don't know. Let's see if you can see it through here. No, let me try it through here. Shoot. Okay, let me pull it up right through here. Unfortunately, he sent it in a little mini download, which it's not in a JPEG. Let me see if I can move it. If I can move it, I think I can get it. Let me see 1 second. Okay. Let me put it into. Oh, all right. This might be it. All right. You know what? I might be able to get it. Okay. 1 second. All right. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I think I might. Let me take this off the screen. Let me pull this up, and I think we might have it. Let me see if I moved it. If I moved it, we're good. No, it didn't pop up. Let me see here photos. Okay, maybe it's in through here. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the. Oh, there we go. Okay, I got it. I think. Okay, I got it. 1 second. We're gonna see it. Mac 10. I don't know what the audio quality is gonna be, but I should be able to get it up here. Okay, can you see it? Yep.
No, it's way too.
Yeah, then that's what I thought. Okay, well, we tried.
I'll take his word, and I'll send him my links so he can send it to me later. But
we definitely 4 hours later. I unfortunately I can't get it up on. It's small, so that's unfortunate. But anything else that comes to your mind, Mr. 10, Mr. Mac 10, Mr. White Wolf? Anything else you'd like to say as we get ready to close out the segment soon with Mr. Matthews? Anything else you want to say? I would think what about Mr. LaFlame, by the way? Can you think Mr. LaFlame will handle himself well in the ring? You've trained him, you see him.
That boy can handle anything that I throw at him, so he's gonna throw y'all for a loop. Like
so the competition that he's faced in Resi and TBW and AWL, it's still not the same as NEW. So you still
but we turned around and we went to a show called NOCW.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot about it. Yeah, I've said a lot about it. So yes, I'm aware.
This boy, man, scared the bejeebus out of me. He was at least 10 foot up in the air jumping off a balcony, brother.
Well, he is like 10 feet. I mean, the way he jumps off the ring, I mean, what he does, I mean, he's the energy, literally the energy of this sport. I mean, so I think we're all excited to see it here in NEW, but I think just a question which a lot of people would have as NEW fans, the competition that he's faced is still not the same as what we have here in this promotion. That's just, I think, a valid question that we'll obviously find out.
We will find out, because to me, he's gonna hang with the best of y'all.
I agree.
I hope. And by the way, I want to give Resi a lot of credit for this because the fact that Resurrection Wrestling has been letting talent like D'Angelo LaFlame go work in other places, that speaks volumes. It speaks volumes to the company. It speaks volumes to working together. All wrestling matters. Actually, I want to ask you guys both a question. You know what? While I have you both here, I want to formally ask you about this because I'm sure you're aware of on Wednesday's show. Sean Jovi, the resident rock star, he has created this thing called the All Wrestling Matters World Underground Championship. Obviously, two men like yourself, two accomplished grapplers, two hardcore standouts, two legends. Mr. Jovi has talked about crowning a champion. He's talked about crowning a champion at this thing here called Summer Bash on July 5th through the 7th. And Bremen, Ohio out there. It's all these other companies, IMF, DKW. Sean Jovi is sponsoring the event. And I was wondering, do you guys see yourselves maybe as the All Wrestling Matters champion? Do you want to compete for that championship? Mr. Jovi still hasn't decided what he's doing there. It could be open-ended. I mean, you guys, after all, look at what you guys have done. I mean, why not?
I'm going to be there, so screw it. Why not?
Interesting. So, I mean, obviously what you've done and your experiences, I mean, I would think that anybody that would be in that field, whatever they decide it to be, I mean, why not just stake your claim and say, I should be that All Wrestling Matters champ? Because you know what? In Resurrection, you guys have been doing that already. You guys have been doing that for months. You guys have been out there in live venues. You guys have been out there working with veteran wrestlers. Jimmy Controversy, he loves Resurrection Wrestling. Jimmy loves coming in. You don't love Jimmy so much, but Jimmy loves coming to Resurrection Wrestling. I made you laugh there. But the point is, a who's who of up-and-coming talents have been in Resi. And why not you bring that title home and show that Resurrection Wrestling is the place that's been doing All Wrestling Matters long before Sean Jovi had a eureka moment and decided that he was going to have a championship to create who's the best in his mind.
Well, that's the thing on that. It might be who's the best in his mind or who's the best in their mind, but you know how Mac operates. Mac does not operate.
I do know how you operate.
I do not operate. I take what I want. I get what I get. If I make it to the end, I make it to the end. If I don't make it to the end, I don't make it to the end.
You have a thought or two on that, Mr. Matthews? Obviously, I should ask you about this All Wrestling Matters World Underground Championship. I mean, you guys are basically, again, you guys are doing that with Riot in the Ring, right? You've got the best of the best, all-out war. It seems like Mr. Jovi, is he behind the eight ball a little bit? Is he basically just taking what you guys did and doing it in a different taste, or what? What do you think on all this?
I am fine with everyone coming together as one community, because as people consider like this community, there's always going to be people out there that says, "Oh, my federation is better," and like
right.
just talk down upon other people when it should be everybody working together, helping each other grow.
Absolutely. No, I think what Sean's trying to do. I think.
Yeah. So on that note, what Summer Bash really reminds me of is, I mean, back in the day when Mac was first starting to come onto the scene, there was a company called CHWA, Cottage Hills Wrestling Alliance, and they held a show called Best in the Backyard.
Okay.
And Best in the Backyard 2, I think it was Best in the Backyard 2, or it might have been 3. But we had companies from back in the day, 6-7 years ago, that were from Florida, Kentucky, all over the U.S., just centralized in one area around St. Louis.
That's really cool.
And that show, those guys up there, like, they're family to me. And go check them out at CHWA for Life on YouTube, if I remember straight. You can check out the backlogs that they have, and that show there hits home for me, because that show was a memorial show to one of their brothers. He passed away of cancer.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
And now, since they're in the big leagues over there in the Midwest, up there around St. Louis, it's not called Best in the Backyard anymore. It's the John Hope Y'all Show. And our whole standpoint on that show, we'll open that show and be like, no, screw it, fuck cancer. Because that one right there is evil.
It's tough. So many people, and Atomic Titan has something to say in a second. I'll actually put it up on the screen, but
I don't care what Titan has to say, because Titan.
He actually wanted to talk about CHW Backyard. He said they're legends.
That they are. That one I agree with.
All right. So, and by the way, I do have to let him say something because he's going to be here Monday with an announcement. Only you're going to hear on this platform. So I hope people tune in because Mr. Titan, you have an announcement. But you know what, Mr. Titan? I'm going to one-up you because I've got an announcement Monday night as well, which I guarantee you won't know anything about. So you might want to tune in. No, seriously, I actually have something that you'll have to just stay tuned for. I promise you. No, it's not loose cannon.
I have a quick thing. That CHW Backyard. Is he talking about like the guys from Philly?
No, it's CHWA.
So I think he's wrong than that.
Okay, well, the Mr. Titan.
I think he's talking about Sweet Savard, the guy that wrestled, I think, in Philly with like his girlfriend or whatever it was.
I think I saw something on YouTube with that. I think somebody sent me something with that. So yeah, thank you. All right, fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Titan, for that. And obviously, we want to send prayers to anybody impacted by cancer. It's a horrific thing, and I only want to pray for people on that. Okay, so obviously, I got those points out. Before I come back to Mr. Matthews, anything else you want to share, Mr. 10, that's on your mind?
Nope, I'm good on that.
All right, okay. Mr. 10.
I'll catch y'all on another one.
You definitely will. That was Mr. Mac 10, and obviously, he gave us some Mac-like points. And Mr. Titan would like to say he did. That's who he was referring to.
I'm like, I don't think that's the same people that he's talking
about. Well, there you know. Obviously, real quick before I get to a few final thoughts on Mr. Surge and anything else, NEW, I want to put a bow on. Any thoughts on Mr. 10? I mean, it didn't seem like he wanted to be in Riot in the Ring, but he gave some, serious pointers on Mr. LaFlame. I guess I'll have to ask him on Mr. LaFlame himself for Thursday, I suppose.
I mean, if Mac 10 ever wants to come to NEW, he's more than welcome. He can come here, wrestle Power Surge. He can come here, wrestle other talent that might be here.
Even Gabe Sayers when he's not refereeing in NEW? You like that one? You like that one, right?
I have phone conversations all the time, at the beginning of these Vortex episodes. I talked to Navon.
I did see that.
I've talked to Alan Reed, so many people.
Navon McDonald. An interesting man, Navon McDonald. An interesting man, Navon McDonald is a man that actually I was supposed to interview like 5 months ago, and it didn't happen. I forgot why, but I know Navon McDonald very well. Would love to see Navon McDonald here one of these days down there. Who knows, though? I'm not going to say anything further, though. I'm going to say nothing further on that, but I'm sure Mr. Sayers will have his piece. Okay, so let me ask you then a couple other things here. Give me your final thoughts to Power Surge before All Out War 9.
Well, Power Surge, you already know this, that you're going in there with one of the best in NEW. I'm not D Savage. I'm not Tyson Spade. I'm not like anybody else on the roster, and I know you know this. There might be a chance that I might pull the biggest upset of your title reign once again. I would love to walk out with a Northeast Championship as well as a briefcase, and I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll win the All Out War match too. It could be a very, very big night for Jake Matthews. Power Surge, I hope you go in there and give me your best because I don't want to beat you at your half percent, your low percent. I want to beat you at your very best. That way there is no denying the fact that I won fair and square and that I beat you at your very best. So bring your A game because I'm bringing mine.
Is this going to be one of the more important matches of your career coming up?
I would say yes, because this is somebody that I love wrestling, that I honestly haven't wrestled for over a year, I believe, considering the time everything was filmed. And it may turn out to be the bloodiest match of my who knows?
Not Heinz ketchup packets, right? Not like Crayola crayon blood or pastel blood when you're in art class where you had like those like red, you take like the little like art packet sets and you'd, take the water brush, whatever it was, the art brush and use it for red coloring. This isn't going to be like that. Or even when you did Easter egg coloring, it's not going to be like that red, right?
No, not at all. I was just using it to my advantage. If I see a license plate, if I see a baseball bat, you best believe that I'm going to do
Although
it.
I should make you laugh. I'm gonna make you laugh. There's people out here watching this are gonna say, "Why would you bring this up?" But when I did my thing for Radu Bulat, who again is a British hardcore deathmatch star, he's actually very good friends with Mr. Hardcore, who was supposed to be in the Riot in the Ring once upon a time, and actually I had somebody call me and say, why did you get beat up? Did somebody try to kill you because they saw my chin? And I was like, no,
Yeah.
I was just cutting myself to show that I was a hardcore wrestler on it. Chase Wakefield actually was the one guy who got the reference. He actually messaged me about he used the line. I forget what the line was about shaving, but yes, the point is that there'll be real blood in this, kind of like more real than even what I did for my video on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. But Mr. Titan has something interesting before I get to my next question. NEW versus TBW this year, I hope, or an appearance on an episode. Now, I don't know anything about this. I wouldn't know anything in pertain to these initials. Is that something that you're just hearing for the first time? Because that seems that's totally off the cuff. Because I thought NEW, we do things real here. I love TBW, but TBW has a different style, than NEW. I mean, I was just curious, if this is something that you must be hearing from for the first time, right?
There's been little things that have been mentioned about NEW on TBW's product in the past. There's been little stories, on Instagram mentioned back and forth.
Oh, that I know about Instagram, but I hadn't seen anything the last couple of weeks. I was just wondering.
So, yeah, like I think last season of theirs, they mentioned about Rhea Silver, whatever. I mean, the fact of it is that if they want NEW to come down, I'll bring a few friends with me. We'll go down there. We'll take over your show. We'll win some championships. We'll bring them back to Massachusetts and build up the prestige of these titles, because the last time it had any prestige, it was when Ledger was champion, and where the fuck did he go?
That's a good question. I don't know anything about where he is, and nobody knows, as a matter of fact. Xavier Thorne brought him up like 2 weeks ago, and people were like in the comments, like, he's not the champion anymore. It's like, what are you doing? He's not the champion. Where you watch?
That's another one, Thorne. He's always another one on the list of people that said they're coming to NEW that never got.
Well, he says he's going everywhere, but the only place he's going is maybe to the toilet, because that's what he did in his last appearance on this platform.
I heard about that. I didn't bother to watch it. No offense. I just don't personally want to see a grown man on a toilet on a podcast.
I didn't want to either. Trust me, it wasn't my hope and aspiration for. And I think Mr. Titan had a funny line that he must have went back to the asylum.
I will say this: he has more gimmicks, stolen gimmicks that I've ever seen anybody before. I do remember not Titan, Thorne.
Yeah, I was gonna say Thorne. I know the Thorne deal, because I had a phone call. I won't say from who. Maybe I'll tell you off the air, that gave me a whole earful about how many gimmicks he's stolen. I have heard this, but go ahead.
He went on to say about he pretty much, he's not like Roman Reigns, this and that.
By the way, didn't he steal your middle name, Effin?
Listen.
Didn't he steal your? Aren't you Jake Effin Matthew? He used to call himself Xavier Effin Thorne. Sometimes still does.
Honestly, I just needed Instagram handle. Jake Matthews was taken, so the only thing that I could think of was putting the F in between, and it worked. So no, I don't. It's not my nickname. I'm not like copying Seth Rollins, because that's another person I copied. But I remember how he's like, he's not Roman Reigns, and he ends with "recognize me" or something like that on one of his posts, and I'm like, if you're trying to be different, why are you stealing Roman Reigns?
As much as I'm trying hard, because I happen to like Mr. Thorne, all I will say is this: the Copper Dragon, when his name came up, Mr. Dragon said in kind of his own way, "Let's not go there," basically.
I like Thorne. All my conversations with Thorne has been good, but
I bought a share of the PWF from him. I'm basically I own like 20% of the PWF, and I bought his share. So I mean, I obviously know him, but there's certainly some fascinating opinions about him.
I've tried to steer him in the right direction of not taking these gimmicks, but who knows? But that's been a while. Anyways, Titan, if you want a hardcore match, if you want to prove that you're the hardcore king or whatever you're calling yourself, How about when I make my way down to TBW, we go one-on-one in a hardcore match? I'm sure you won't be calling yourself the Hardcore King after that match, but the challenge is out there for you, bud.
Well, you know what? He's here Monday. Only if you insist. I could ask him about that. Would you like? Can I ask him about that on Monday?
Of course, of course.
Okay, I want to make sure only if you insist. 'Cause I don't want to do anything, without your permission. Obviously, I don't want to, have gimmick infringement and question infringements. I don't want to slander you. I want to make sure that only with your, of allowing me to, Mr. Matthews, that I could certainly ask Mr. Titan this question because he's the hardcore king and he wants everybody to respect him. I just wanted to make sure that only with your permission that I could ask him about this challenge you've laid out here. And, obviously, I'll ask Mr. Titan if he would like to accept that.
Go for it. I'll be very interested to see what he has to say.
Well, he has a few comments about it. He says, first of all, he says Thorne's second match in TBW, he used all of our moves in a single match. Yeah, and the first one wasn't first one wasn't terrible, but it was sort of weird in the ending, if I recall correctly. But that's a different conversation for a different time. He's actually here May 27th, quote unquote. He's here. I don't know if he'll be here, but that's a different conversation for a different time. He says, give him till Monday and he'll think about it. Just don't act like Manny Cobra. Well, I love Manny Cobra. He's been on my platform once upon a time, but I don't think Jake Matthews and Manny Cobra would be mentioned in the same sentence. Just saying.
Who?
There you go. Yeah, that's actually, you actually, I don't know if I should do this or not because I love TBW, but somebody asked me, but I brought up hardcore wrestlers and he was one of the names and one of the individuals looked at me like this and they went, who? And I said, Manny Cobra. He said, he's the, and they were like, who? And I said, Manny Cobra, the Puerto Rican Nightmare. But, there's the Grim. How about the Grim Reaper, Joe Anderson? Does that give you more pause, more room for,
Who?
He's a Grim Reaper. I mean, I actually have a guy on my platform who calls himself a Grim Reaper. Maybe he's trying to steal Joe Anderson's gimmick, I suppose.
There's so many Grim Reapers. There's so many gods. There's so many this and that's out there in the yard. He's not a Grim Reaper. He's just somebody that wears a mask that tries to be like any other mask character. He probably sets up just like The Undertaker. I don't personally know. But
I'm going to, Mr. Matthews, I know you sort of like me, so I'm going to actually make you actually laugh in a way, sort of. I actually tell people that I don't have to wear a mask every day because I put a mask on just by getting up outside and just like this. So that's why I don't have to wear a mask. Like when Halloween comes, I'm like this every day, so I don't have to actually dress up for Halloween. This is me 365 or 366 days a year now in this case because it's a leap year. So that's a different conversation. And Mr. Titan actually says, I've beat them all.
You beat a bunch of nobodies. That's cool, I beat Power Surge. I beat D Savage. I've beat so many people.
Justin Abel Sainz in the rotation. You got some big names. Some big names.
Tyson Spade. In fact, I'm undefeated against Tyson Spade.
And he's the champion of NEW, by the way. For those out there, what he did to keep his championship against Justin Abel Sainz, who's, by the way, only one of two All-Out War winners, and he's the current Fight Zone champion. I mean, again, speaks volumes to the company's talent. I mean, I love TBW, but when I talk about the likes of Tyson Spade and Reyes Silver and Zero and Power Surge and D Savage and Justin Abel Sainz, there's a lot of promotions out there that they don't compare, and they may not pass the litmus test compared to NEW. I mean, pound for pound, this might be the best roster of any promotion out there. And Mr. Titan would like to say, I wish Joshua Allen would bring me real competition to face. Well, I can't speak for that. I can only speak for what's in front of me, and you're here, and I'm going to see you Monday. So I guess...
Joshua Allen has me on Instagram. He has me on Facebook. He knows how to get a hold of me. I'm willing to go down there whenever you guys have a date planned. You name it, I'll be there. As long as it doesn't interfere with my other trips I have planned for this year, because there's a few.
Well, I don't think I should ask you about those trips because I have a feeling that I'm going to probably see you on Sportswire maybe, soon again, because I would expect you'll be coming back on this platform. I don't expect to see you like, let's say, a guy who came on my show Thursday who was drunk in a bar and I had to throw him off the show and basically deactivated him. Yeah, there was a guy wrestling. His name's Remington Stryker, quote unquote. He's in the IMF and he was drunk on Sportswire. So basically I said, well, basically for you, Mr. Stryker, I'm going to deactivate you, similar to how the Arizona Coyotes NHL hockey team is deactivated. And basically, I'm going to deactivate you permanently from Sportswire Radio because basically you came on and just, we're drinking. And, even though we've had a high tolerance for a lot of things, throwing on the toilet bowl, Skulls, the Big Bad Bowl Patch Silver Wolf, and, Tyler Ark, and, people apologizing on Sportswire. But my threshold for tolerance was basically to the point where I couldn't take it anymore and I had to deactivate Mr. Stryker. Now, that's a different conversation for a different time, but certainly I think I agree with this individual that NEW has pros. NEW actually has pros that are actually professional wrestlers. Pros. Not like those that might be pros on the Fisher Price training wheels. Not like that pros that they could be in, water balloon fights, or not like pros in 2K gamers, or, pros in promo feds. These are actually pros that wrestle every weekend somewhere in the Northeast and maybe even beyond.
I mean, we've had guys like Joseph Gemini, now known as Javen Myra, in the Indiana indie scene right now.
Yep.
We've had Jamie Tylers in the New York indie scene right now. We've had Sean Williams, who's making his start.
I know Sean Williams. I heard the name Sean Williams.
Yep. I mean, we have G Savage, Power Surge. We have, I will say that I think out of all this generation of, underground or yarders, we have the most people that have gone pro, or that is still pro while doing the underground.
I would agree with that. I think, yeah, I would agree with that. I would absolutely agree with that. I think VTW might be the other company that's comparable.
Yes, I did forget about VTW, which great place from what it looks like. I love watching their shit.
Yeah, VTW is great. It's a different brand, but in terms of, I think they're the only one, if I were to say it's a coin toss. But the point is, in NEW, we have pros here. Like I said, not pros that are on the Fisher Price training wheels, not pros that are in water balloon fights, pros in 2K gaming, pros in promo feds. These are pros that go out every weekend and they actually wrestle pro talent. So just saying. So thank you for that comment there. And yes, Mr. Allen will reach out to you according to Mr. Titan. We'll have to see. Okay. You have anything else that you'd like to say before we get to closing thoughts on your behalf, Mr. Matthews? Covered a lot tonight. You had Mac 10 come in, give you a cameo. Atomic Titan recently. We spoke a lot about Power Surge.
Hardcore King. I mean, that's our Hardcore King.
Anthony Steele interrupted you last time. This time we spoke about guys like Stephen Havoc, D'Angelo LaFlame, and we spoke about all these who's who of people, and people seem like they wanna, they want to talk to you.
I will say this, 2024, I'm not going to say it's my year, it's going to be this, but it's going to be a very interesting and probably one of my best years of wrestling so far. Got quite a few fun trips planned. I will say that Power Surge versus Jake Matthews, in my opinion, this upcoming one at All Out War will be our best one-on-one match that we had. Because, of course, everything has been filmed. But I won't be the person that spoils anything. I mean, we've had.
No, please don't spoil, because I always tell people on this platform, you spoil because it'll come. You actually will come back because, well, you're the man behind the company. So I would say,
we have 5 matches, not including the All War match. The other 4 is championship matches. We have 0 versus Reyes Silver for the hardcore title. We have Justin Abel Sane versus Leonidas.
We're talking about that Tuesday. Yep.
We have me versus Power Surge for the Northeast title, and then we have Savage versus Tyson Spade.
And I gotta remind you, if Savage wins, he's back on Sportswire like right after that, and we're putting him in the Hall of Fame if he wins.
I'm not going to say that he does win or Spade wins, but I mean, if Savage wins and goes right into Hall of Fame, shouldn't we have Tyson Spade? If he wins, shouldn't he come on the show?
If Mr. Spade would like to, would Mr. Spade like to come onto the platform? I mean, I would certainly say that I would certainly be very interested in speaking. He's the champion, right? Somebody asked me the other day. They said, how many times have you had the world champion on when they've been on? I said, it happens, but, it doesn't happen every time. But I said, yeah, you know what? If Mr. Spade's out there, I'll bring him on. I'll bring him on right afterwards.
You know what? I'll promise you this, Tom. When I cash in my Born to Battle briefcase, whether it's during season 6, during season 7, during season 5, doesn't matter when. When I do, and when I win the Undisputed Championship, I'll be sure to come on with the undisputed champion.
Well, listen, Atomic Titan's messaging me right now, and he's like, "Well, I'm the hardcore champion. I'm here on sports." I'm like, "Yes, Mr. Titan's coming onto the platform. Technically, Omen Black and Soldier GP were here on Thursday. They're the DKW and the IMF World Champion. So technically, yes, I have. So yes, I will agree with that. And also, before I get to closing thoughts, I do want to remind you that actually in the month of June, because of Riot in the Ring, we're giving it NEW month. And I also want to make one more announcement for you guys that when we're off the air, I'm going to subscribe to your Patreon page.
Thank you. Appreciate
Congratulations.
That.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I wanted to actually save that for the last. People are like, people are like, really? I'm like, yeah, well, subscribe to your Patreon page. Why not?
I appreciate
no problem. Trust me. Checks in the mail. Well, I don't think you get the check in the mail. You get it probably through like the electronic, but that's a different conversation for a different time. But all right, I think we've got a lot that we've covered. Mr. Havoc will be here tomorrow. Mr. Justin Abel Sane will be here Tuesday night. Mr. LaFlame will be here Thursday night, and I imagine maybe I'll see Mr. Spade or Mr. Savage after Saturday. I'll probably have it the next day or two after that, so I'll look forward to all of that. So we've spoke a lot, Mr. Matthews. You're the best on the card. Maybe you're the best Hall of Famer in Sportswire history. That's certainly up for debate. I know people out there will certainly say, oh, boy, here we go. But I'm going to give you the floor, give you some closing thoughts. Anything else you'd like to plug, share, or say? Fire away.
Okay, go check out our Patreon. Go check out our Instagram, Facebook. Stay tuned. All or Saturday, May 18th, 1 week from today. Riot in the Ring filmed June 1st. It will be coming out during the month of June. Don't have an exact date yet, but it should be coming in different parts. So round one will be on video, round two, etc., etc. We have a bunch of great talent. Please go follow all of the participants on Instagram, all the social media. Other than that, keep watching Sportswire Radio. Stay tuned for NEW. All wrestling matters, and you just don't know where Jake Matthews will show up next. Like I like to say, is expect the unexpected.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to expect the unexpected, and I feel like that happens every day on this platform. So great stuff there. You can follow Jake on Instagram. Also check out NEW, especially on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. Like I said, I like to make the announcement here. I will subscribe to the Patreon page after we're off there because, I had Copper Dragon on last week, and I subscribed to his Patreon page, and I was speaking to him off the air. He's like, wow, you really did do it. He was like, yes, I'm actually the kind of person. When you were on the air the first time, I said I would buy your shirt, and I bought your shirt. So, oh, by the way, only have your shirt on. So that's what, we do. I think Omen Black's funny line, we were speaking off the air before Thursday show. He's like, all you do is wear wrestling shirts. And I said, yeah, it's my uniform. It's my work attire now is wrestling shirts. And yes, indeed, expect the unexpected. Thank you for that. And I'll see you maybe one day on Sportswire. And everybody, that was Jake Matthews. He is the 2023 Born to Battle briefcase holder. He'll be competing at All Out War 9 next Saturday for the Northeast Championship against Power Surge. He has been holding the championship for now 370 days. We'll see if it will go past 377 days. You can follow NEW on all social media platforms. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice of all wrestling, where all wrestling figuratively and literally matters. If you're on sportswireradio.org, you're going back to your regularly scheduled programming. If you're on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, I'll be back here 9 p.m. tomorrow with Mr. Stephen Havoc for the first time in 15 months. The next day, I'm going to be here live with Atomic Titan, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Tuesday, I'm going to be here with Mr. Justin Abel saying at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And Thursday, D'Angelo LaFlame, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So stay tuned for the schedule for more details. I'm sure we'll have more other talents. Until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global relation that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. And please support our friends at NEW on YouTube. Let's get them to 2,000 subscribers